All right, future teacher, in this section, I'll present you with questions all about United States history. I'll give you some time to answer them, and then we'll talk about the correct solution together. Note that all of these questions come from the official Praxis 5004 study companion. All right, great. Let's get into question number 1, which reads, what were the weaknesses in the Articles of Confederation that eventually led to its replacement by the Constitution? Second, why were the articles written this way in the first place? Again, take a moment here, pause the video. I highly suggest that you either type, write, or at least say your solution out loud, and then come back for the solution so we can talk about it together. All right, let's look at answer number 1. The Articles of Confederation provided a loose federation of the states with a weak central government. Key weaknesses included the lack of power to tax, the requirement for unanimous votes on important issues, and the absence of a national judiciary or executive branch. These issues led to inefficiencies and financial difficulties. The articles were written to preserve the independence and sovereignty of the states out of fear of central authority and tyranny, reflecting the colony's experiences under British rule. All right, that was answer number 1. How'd you do? All right, let's go on to the next question, which reads, name some ways the Constitution affects our lives today. Pause the video here and answer this question, then push play when you're ready for the solution that we've created. All right, let's check out this answer. The Constitution affects our lives today by establishing the framework of the federal government and the legal foundation of citizens' rights. Furthermore, it defines the separation of powers among the branches of government, protects individual rights through the Bill of Rights, and sets principles like checks and balances and federalism that govern how laws are made and enforced. So, those are some of the ways that the Constitution affects our lives today. Let's now go on to question number 3, which reads, what was the Supreme Court's decision in Marbury versus Madison, and what did it establish? Again, pause the video, take note, give yourself some time to think, write, or say your answer, and then come back when you're ready for the solution. All right. In Marbury versus Madison, which happened in 1803, the Supreme Court, under Chief Justice John Marshall, declared that a certain law passed by Congress was unconstitutional. This led to the establishment of judicial review. This decision gave the courts the power to strike down laws and executive actions deemed inconsistent with the Constitution. So again, it's not about what the actual case that brought this up was about. It was that from this point on, it gave the decision to the courts to strike down laws and other actions that to them are deemed inconsistent with our Constitution. Okay, 4th question, which reads, what was manifest destiny and how did it influence the expansion of United States territory? All right, let's go on to the solution. This was the 19th century doctrine that the expansion of the US throughout the American continents was both justified and inevitable. It influenced the expansion of encouraging westward settlement, supporting the removal of Native Americans, and justifying war with Mexico, which ended up actually leading to the acquisition of territories such as Texas, California, and Oregon, too. All right, so that's Manifest Destiny. Again, an important topic for your upcoming Praxis 5004 exam. Let's go on to the fifth question. This reads, make your own immigration timeline of the 19th century, noting the decades during which immigrants from various countries or regions came to the United States in large numbers. Pause the video here and push play once you have created your own immigration timeline. All right, let's check this solution out together. Now, starting with 1820 all the way through to 1840, there were significant numbers of British, Irish, and Germans who immigrated to the United States. Then, a little bit later, from 1840 to 1860, the Irish and the Germans continued to arrive in large numbers to the United States, and this is particularly due to the Irish potato famine as well as political unrest in Germany. Lastly, from 1870 to 1890, this was known as the post Civil War time, and there was a rise in immigrants from Eastern and Southern Europe. Many were Italians, Jews, and Poles, so from Poland. All right, so that would be an example of an immigration timeline demonstrating your understanding through the decades of which many immigrants came to the United States in order to show your competency of United States history. All right, let's keep going with the next question. Post Civil War immigration can be viewed in terms of the quote unquote melting pot analogy or in terms of pluralism or multiculturalism. What does this mean? Excuse me, what does this distinction mean and why is it important? Pause the video here, give yourself some time to answer, try your best, and then come back when you're ready for the solution. All right, the answer here, we could say something like the melting pot suggests that all immigrant cultures are blended as well as assimilated into a single culture. Pluralism or multiculturalism emphasizes the coexistence of diverse cultures where each retains its own identity and adds to the overall cultural mosaic of our society. The distinction is important as it affects policies on integration, cultural recognition, and the social dynamics within one single nation, like the United States. All right, moving on. Next question. What was the Supreme Court's decision in Brown versus Board of Education of Topeka? Sorry for the pronunciation. Topeka. There we go. All right, pause the video here. Check your understanding. Come back for the solution when you're ready. All right. Now, in 1954, the Supreme Court ruled in Brown versus Board of Education that racial segregation of children in public schools was unconstitutional, stating that separate but equal facilities are inherently unequal, thus overturning the Plessy versus Ferguson decision that dated back from 1896. All right, here is the final question from our United States history set of questions. Let's go on. This one reads, how was the later decision in University of California versus, I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce this, Bake, perhaps Bake, related to another important educational issue in the 20th century? Again, check your understanding, write or say your answer out loud. Come back for the solution when you're ready. All right. In relation to educational issues, in 1978, the Supreme Court decision in the University of California versus, again, excuse me on the pronunciation, Bake, held that while racial quotas in college admissions processes were unconstitutional, institutions could still consider race as one factor among others in admissions. So, this case relates to affirmative action, highlighting ongoing debates about race, equality, and access to education in America.